Hello students, this is Gaikwad sir, and once again I welcome you all to this video lecture of Innovative Public School. So my dear students, we have been learning the topic climate. This is the second part which we are going to learn today of climate. So in the first part we just had the introduction about the climate and we learned the difference between the weather and the climate. So today we will discuss about the climate of Brazil and the climate of our India. So let us begin. So what you can see here. So see here you have the map of the zones on your screen. We have basically the three zones. For example, here you have the map of the earth. At the center you have the equator at 0 degree. Above the equator, if you go, then we have the Tropic of Cancer, that is at 23.5 degree. Below the equator, if we go, then we have the Tropic of Capricorn, that is also at 23.5 degree. Okay, so my dear students, so the region between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn is called the tropics zone or the tropical zone, which is extremely hot. So this region basically receives the maximum sun rays. Above the equator, if you go to the region between the Tropic of Cancer and the polar zone, we have the temperate zone, which is in yellow part. Okay, so that is actually the temperate zone. Now what does it mean, temperate zone? It means there we have the warm climate. Similarly, if we come downwards to the south, the region between the Tropic of Capricorn and the polar zone is temperate zone. Here also we have the warm climate, warm zone. And to the poles, North Pole and to the South Pole, we have the polar zone. It means we have extremely cold climate in these regions. So I hope that you understood about these zones. So now, my dear students, our Brazil and our India, we are going to discuss the climate of Brazil and our India. So the most of the part of Brazil also lies in tropical zone. It means hot zone, and India's part also lies in this tropical zone only. That I will show you in the next map. So let us see now how these tropical zones or the polar zones or cold zones have been formed. So here you have the map of the earth and also the sun you can see over here. You can see the equator is the hottest. Why the equator is the hottest? Because the maximum sun rays are received by the equator. The equator basically receives the perpendicular or the straight sun rays from the sun, because the equator is basically close to the sun. And the other parts of the earth, okay, because of the curve of the earth, the other parts, the above side and the below side, okay, they receive the slanting sun rays. And as they receive the slanting sun rays, we find there the temperate zone and the cold zone. So again, as the curve increases, okay, so this part basically receives the less sun rays, and that is what at the northern poles and to the south pole we have the coldest zone. So the poles basically are the coldest, and equator is the hottest. So why the equator is the hottest? Because it receives the perpendicular sun rays, straight sun rays, and that is what the maximum sun rays are received by the equator. So we find the maximum equator, okay, is hot, and to the other poles if you go, or the other side if you go, then because of the curved, the other parts of our earth receive the slanting sun rays, and due to that we have the temperate zone over there. I hope that you understood these all things, because already you have learned this in the earlier classes. So just we are revising this to understand the climate of our India and Brazil. Let's move further. Now here you will see, where does Brazil and India lie? In which temperate zone basically? So you can see the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, Tropic of Cancer actually goes between India. Equator goes, okay, from Brazil, and Tropic of Capricorn also goes from the Brazil. So you will see that region between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn has put into light sky blue color. So basically that region is called the tropics zone or tropical zone. So India lies into tropical zone, okay, and even though most of the part of the Brazil lies into tropical zone. So this is very important thing, my dear students. You have to keep this also thing in the mind, that most of the part of Brazil lies in the tropical zone, and also the most of the part of our India lies into tropical zone. So I hope that you understood this also point very well. So now see, here on your screen you have the map of Brazil, which describes us the annual average precipitation and temperature. So the index also has been given to you. Now see here, we have this side, basically we have the northeast monsoon winds, and to the south of Brazil we have the southeast monsoon winds. So this northeast monsoon winds and southeast monsoon winds basically brings the rain in Brazil. Okay, you can see the arrows also over here. So these arrows come from northeast monsoon winds, and these arrows come from the southeast monsoon winds. So due to these winds, we get the rain in Brazil. So how it rains in the Brazil? So let us see. So my dear students, here you can see. So my dear students, this when the wind blows from this side, okay, it comes over here and it rains in this region basically. Now why it rains over here? Because this mountain becomes the barrier for this wind. Now why this mountain becomes the barrier for this winds? Because of its height, altitude. If the altitude is high of that mountain, so obviously it will become the barrier to these winds, because these winds are carrying the moisture along with them, and as they carry the moisture along with them, they fall the rain in this place. So when the wind blows or the flows from this region, they carry the moisture along with them, and what happens when they carry the moisture along with them? So the mountain, this mountain becomes the barrier for them, obstacle for them, and they stop these mountains here only, and due to that we find the huge rain in this region. Why? Because already these winds carrying the moisture along with them, so they do not go further due to the mountains, and that is what in this region basically we will find the high rainfall. So what will happen? The mountain, this wind or the clouds will rise up. Why they will rise up? Because of this altitude of the mountain. As they rise up, so what will happen? Their moisture capacity will decrease. As their moisture capacity will decrease, okay, so they will go further, and as they come this side, to the leeward side, they will have the rain shadow area. It means very less rainfall we will have in this leeward side. So leeward side means what? Leeward side means opposite side of the windward side. Okay, the opposite side of this leeward side is called the opposite side of the windward side is called the leeward side. So in the leeward side, usually we will have the low rainfall. So why we will have the low rainfall? Because of this altitude of the mountain. This altitude of mountain, okay, becomes the obstacle for this all the winds which blow from over here. So as the mountain as the winds or the clouds rise up, okay, their capacity which they carry along with them the moisture, so that capacity decreases, and that is what, as they move further here to the leeward side, they will get the less rainfall over there. So that is what this area is called, the rain shadow area. So I hope that you understood this, the difference between the windward side and leeward side. Okay, so windward side means what? From where the wind is flowing, that is called the windward side. Similarly, we have the same thing in our India also. Now for example, take the example of this Maharashtra. So my dear students, here for example, we have the map of Maharashtra. So here we have the Arabian Sea. You can see on your screen, Arabian Sea. Then what happens from there? Actually, India receives the monsoon from the southwest, okay, winds. So southwest winds basically they carry the rain in our India, or the monsoon in our India. So you can see I have shown here the arrow. Okay, so that above the evaporation, if you see, then the clouds are there. So these clouds come from the southwest, okay, and they carry the rain in our India. So as they enter in our India, we have Konkan region and Sahyadri Hills. So what happens? This Sahyadri Hills become the obstacle for these winds. Then what will happen? We get the high rainfall in the Konkan region. Okay. So if you see why we get the high rainfall in the Konkan region, because increase in the altitude, less moisture holding capacity we have then. So Sahyadri Hills. So the height of the altitude of the Sahyadri Hills is very high. So as the altitude increases, so we get the less moisture. Why? Because the clouds have to rise up. As they rise up to go further, the moisture holding capacity decreases in the clouds. And that is what here we will get the less rainfall as they go further. So what happens? Due to that, all the clouds, okay, will fall as a rain in this region only, Konkan. So that is what every year we get the huge rain in Konkan place. I hope that you understood now this. So let's move further now. Now see, as the as the clouds rise up and they move further, okay, they come over Maharashtra plateau. As they come over to Maharashtra plateau, so what happens? The altitude decreases. As the altitude decreases, so moisture holding capacity, okay, decrease in altitude in moisture holding capacity. So moisture holding capacity also decreases over here. Why the moisture holding capacity decreased over here? Because already when the clouds were opposite of the Sahyadri Hills, so they rose up. Now as they went up, so what happened? Their moisture holding capacity decreased, and as they came further, so already they were not carrying the much moisture along with them. So that is what basically in this Maharashtra plateau region we will find the rain shadow area. Rain shadow area means what? Very less rain we will actually find in this Maharashtra plateau. Okay, then next we have the lower lands in the east. Now eastern sides of our Maharashtra, what happens? So see, there is increase in the rainfall. Now why again there is increase in the rainfall? Because the height has decreased over here. At the Sahyadri Hills we had the height because of the mountains, Sahyadri Hills. Then Maharashtra plateau again we had the less height. And again now here lower lands in the eastern side we have. And so that is what you will see, the less moisture holding clouds. So see, here I have shown you in the dark color basically that less moisture holding clouds. Okay, so my dear students, so less temperature, low moisture holding capacity. So there we will find the less temperature, and as the less temperature we find, so low moisture holding capacity we will find. And that is what again what will happen here, the lower lands in the east, due to that now here no more obstacles of the Sahyadri Hills or the mountains, and so that is what increase in the rainfall again we will find in this region basically. So here basically in the eastern side, okay, lower lands in the east, we will have again increase in the rainfall basically. Because what happened in the east side also we have the different types of mountains. So they also become the obstacles for this, all the things. Okay. So my dear students, I hope you understood this all the things. Okay. On the map also I am going to explain you this. Now let us understand the cross section of Brazil's physiography. Here, as I explained you about the rainfall in our India, in the same way we have the rainfall in the Brazil. That is what we are learning, the climate of Brazil and our India. So let's see. Here you have the cross section of Brazil's physiography. So here you can see the escarpment. So this is escarpment. So this part is escarpment. Okay. Here you have the Brazilian highlands. Okay. Here we have the coastal areas, Paraguay, Parana Basin and Amazon Basin. And here we have again Andes Mountains. So here see Andes Mountains. And this is the rainfall in millimeter which is we have given here. So Andes Mountains we have 1600 millimeter rainfall. Okay, then Amazon Basin we have 2000 millimeter rainfall. Paraguay Parana Basin we have 1500 millimeter rainfall. Then here coastal areas basically we have 1200 millimeter rainfall. Okay, so average temperature if you see, then at the Andes Mountain we have 21 degrees Celsius. Then here we have on the Amazon Basin 28 degrees Celsius. Paraguay Parana we have 21 degrees Celsius. Then here we have escarpment. In the escarpment we have 27 degrees Celsius. So this is the average temperatures. Okay. Now let us see. Now let's move further and understand it. Now my dear students, you can see the escarpment. Already in the physiography of Brazil, I had explained about the different physical features of Brazil. In that basically we discussed about the escarpment, okay, and Brazilian highlands also. So see, this is the part which you can see that is actually the escarpment. So here we have the escarpment. This part is the escarpment. So what happens? Here we have the Atlantic Ocean. When the wind comes from this side, okay, they carry the moisture along with them. So in Brazil, basically the wind moves from this side, okay, they carry the wind, the rain from this side, and they make the rain to fall over this region. So what happens when the wind comes from this side, okay, they carry the moisture along with them. Now as they carry the moisture along with them, what happens? This great escarpment becomes the barrier for these winds, as the Sahyadri Hills becomes the barrier for the southwest monsoon winds in our India. In the same manner, this great escarpment becomes the barrier for these monsoon winds in Brazil. So due to that, what happens? This region basically we have the high rainfall. So rain falls here. Okay, so high rainfall we will find in this region basically. So as we move further now, so what will happen? As we move further, so here these clouds will rise up. As they rise up, so obviously their moisture holding capacity will decrease, and when they will come over here over the Brazilian highlands, okay, we will have here the rain shadow area. It means less rain we will have in this region basically. Okay, so as we will have the less rain on the Brazilian highlands, okay, so what will happen? The clouds will move further, and as they move further over the Amazon basin, so we will have again increase in rainfall. Okay, so that is what we have maximum rainfall in Amazon basin, and due to that reason only we find the evergreen rainforest in the Amazon basin area. Okay, and already this all the things we have discussed in the earlier video lectures also. Again here we have the Andes Mountains. So my dear students, I hope that you are getting my all the points. So my dear students, here you have the map of the Brazil. Now here you can see the great escarpment. So what happens when the wind, southeast winds blows from this direction? So here the escarpment becomes the barrier for them, and that is what in this area we find the huge rain. On the other hand, now what happens? So on the other hand, if we see about the Brazilian highlands, then in the Brazilian highlands basically we will have the rain shadow zone. Rain shadow zone means less rain we will find in the Brazilian zones. Then the Amazon basin. Now in the Amazon basin what will happen? So in the Amazon basin basically we will have the rain from this direction. So north east winds, okay, they carry the moisture along with them. Okay, they bring the rain to this region basically. Okay, so Amazon basin, okay, receives the rain from this northeast winds. So now here we do not have any barriers. Here we do not have the mountains. Okay, so that is what happens. No obstacles for this northeast winds in this region. So that is what these winds, okay, carry the moisture along with them and they fall here the huge rain. So that is what in this region basically we have the huge rain in this Amazon basin. So dear students, I hope that you understood this all the things very well. Okay, so let's move further now. Now see here, you can see the map of the world, and here we have the northeasterly trade winds and southeasterly trade winds. Now what are these northeasterly trade winds and southeasterly trade winds? So these trade winds we are going to discuss in further also, because we are learning the climate, and that is what this is very important for all of us. So my dear students, you can see the northeasterly trade winds and southeasterly trade winds, they meet at the equator, and their shape is in the curved shape. So basically our India lies into northeasterly trade winds. So when they meet at the equator, we have the low pressure area there. Now what does it mean? So at the equator we have the low pressure area, and then to the poles we have the high pressure areas. So due to low pressure area, this all the northeasterly trade winds and southeasterly trade winds, where they find the low pressure area, there they come and they meet. So how, that I will explain you now. So here see, northeasterly trade winds. So our India lies into northeasterly trade winds. You have to keep this thing in the mind. So northeasterly winds are dry in India. So actually in India these northeasterly trade winds are dry because they come from this land side only. That is what we find the dry. So they do not carry, that is what they do not carry the rain in our India. They do not fall the rain in our India. Now see here, you have the high pressure wind and low pressure wind. So basically the land, if we see, then the land region, it means the northern part of our India, we have the low pressure wind area over there. And to the southern part of our India, which is where we have the water, there we have the high pressure wind. And do you know, dear students, that the wind always blows from the high pressure area to the low pressure area. And where is our high pressure area? Our high pressure area is in the water side, and low pressure area is on the land. So the south west monsoon winds, okay, comes from this side, and that is what they carry the rain in our India. Okay, and as they carry the rain over India, so in the north side again we have the Himalayas, and Himalayas become the barrier for that. Okay, so what happens, the Himalayas do not allow this all the winds to move further, and that is what in India we get the rain. So already how it rains in our India I had explained. So this southwest monsoon, they carry the moisture along with them, and as they move to the low pressure area, means to the land side, so what happens, because of the mountains, Himalayan mountains, so Himalayan mountains do not allow these all the southwest monsoon winds to move further, and that is what in our India we get the rain. Now what happens in winter? In winter it is opposite. In winter basically to the land area we find the high pressure, okay, and to the water side we find the low pressure. Why it happens? As you know that as the sun hits up the land, okay, so land hits up quickly and cools down quickly, and water hits up gradually and cools down gradually. So in the same manner here in winter lands cools down quickly, and that is what, as the land cools down quickly, so we get the high pressure over there, and as the water cools down gradually, okay, we get the low pressure over there. So that is what you know, that the wind always blows from the high pressure area to the low pressure area. So now where is the high pressure now? So high pressure is created in the land side of our India, northern side. So the wind blows to the low pressure area over there. So my dear student, now here you have the rainfall in millimeter which they have given over here. So see, you can see in this region also how it rains in our India. So basically in our India, this part if we see, okay, the dark blue color part which you can see, basically there we will have the rainfall between the 3000 to 4000 millimeter. It means Sahyadri. Okay, here we have the coastal Western Ghats. So in the Western Ghats we have the Sahyadri hills, and due to this region we will have here the huge rainfall. Okay, also here we will have northeast part, the dark blue part which you can see, there we will have the rainfall between the 3000 to 4000 millimeter, and this dark sky blue color part which you can see, there we will have the rainfall between the 1000 to 2000 millimeter. Here the gray color part, there we will have the rainfall, okay, between the 100 to 500. Okay, and here in Rajasthan basically we will have the less rainfall, okay, in this side. Now why there is a less rainfall, the reasons and this all the things in the next video lecture we will discuss it. So my dear students, I hope that you understood today this part very well. If you have any queries, any doubt, anytime you can call me. Thank you very much.